Hey, what's going on, guys? So I just got some new parts in and I'm going to include you. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just got some new parts in. I'm going to open them up real quick and see what we got. So I think this is the intercooler right here. And I will save the excitement until I get it open. It's really hard with one hand. Definitely the intercooler. Oh yeah. I'm gonna set this down and get this out of the package. Alright, so I got one box out of a bigger box. So, in case you're wondering, let's see where this thing is. Let's see. Made in Mexico. It's not made in China, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know, I've had good luck with China parts. I splurged a little bit this time on something nice and name brand. We'll see if it was worth the cost once we get everything on the car and going next year. Put this thing over. Golly, this thing is huge. So that's 5.1 inches right there. There's a part number. 1 second. Pull this box off the intercooler. Oh, there it is. It is it's heavy. It's a Garrett. It's the biggest Garrett air-to-air core you can get. It's 5.1 inches thick, and it's like 27 inches wide, and it's really heavy. It's probably like 35 pounds or so. But look at how big the fins are on this core. This is where everyone says that why the Garrett's so much better than like Treadstone or eBay coolers or the Chinese intercoolers. But yeah, this thing is really big. It's rated to like 1,300 horsepower, and a lot of people say that Garrett underrates their cores. So it's a really nice piece. It was pretty expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it since I'm staying air to air. I want to get the lowest IETs you can. All right, and I got one more thing over here. Let's get this thing open to see what it is. All right, on to the next box. Once again, this is hard to do with one hand. Let's see what this is. I think it's the Team Z motor plates. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Oh yeah. It's a lot lighter and thinner than I thought it would be. For some reason I had this idea in my head that this would be, it's an eighth inch thick. It's aluminum, so it's really light. But there's the motor plate right there. And some Team Z stickers right there. And here are this is the mid plate right here. It's the mid plate, and here's the motor plates. So I'm gonna get this stuff. We got this mounting tabs right here, which you weld to the frame. So I'm gonna go and get my spare block ready and start getting these things in the car and getting them mocked up and ready to weld in. Okay, so I got my spare block sitting in the car. I put the motor mounts back on it right here. The solid motor mounts back on the side, so I can just get it sitting in somewhat of the right position. And I already put the mid plate on back here. And it's really close on this side. It's actually up against the frame rail. And on this side, it's maybe about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch away from the frame rail. So I'm going to get the front cover put on, and I'm going to get the actual motor plates put on and see how those line up. Alright guys, so I ran into some problems with these motor plates, and that's just kind of typical when you're dealing with aftermarket stuff that was built around maybe something that was a little different. So right here, with this passenger side motor plate, I don't know if the intention was for this to sit up at the edge of this cover right here, or if the intention was for it to sit flush back against the cover at the and like bolt down against the cover. But either way, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough clearance for the crank sensor right here, and also I'm either gonna have to clearance this little edge right here so this plate will sit down in here to get this to bolt up, or I'm gonna have to make spacers on the back side of this plate to get it to fit right on this side. So that's something that I'm gonna have to figure out. And then on this side, I'm pretty sure the plate was meant to sit out like this off of the front cover, but once again I'm gonna have to either get like a piece of thread awl or a long bolt and go in here and like put a nut that goes on the back side and a nut that goes on the front side to keep this motor plate in place, or machine a spacer to go behind this plate right here. So that's what I gotta do with these things. Not really surprised. This is the kind of stuff you run into whenever you're doing custom stuff. But overall, I think they're gonna turn out good. And then once those are on there right, there's just plates that weld to the frame rail right here. And then you bolt those plates in on both sides and then also on the back side. So I think it's gonna be easier to do this with the heads off so I can get everything. I'll bolt the transmission up, get the block sat in the correct position, and burn everything in. But I guess that's something for another day. But one thing that I can do now is I can test fit the turbo and actually get it sitting in the right spot. So one thing I did was I moved the flange to the opposite side. So the way this was sitting before is the flange was sitting on, can't really flip it over, but the flange was facing the other way, so that was facing up here. So what I did is I flipped that flange around to where this will bolt somewhere up here, and the turbo will kind of sit pretty much like right there probably. I got to kind of get it mocked up and sit the turbo down here and see if it's going to clear. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to see if I can use this wood clamp and the C-clip right here to hold the flange in place so I don't have to drill any unnecessary holes until I get the turbo set exactly where I want it. So put this down in here. Set it about right there for now. So it's a lot easier to be able to see the clearance where the turbo is going to sit in front of the engine now. I could probably even still, I may need to move it back another inch actually. I've got a bunch of clearance in between the turbo and the engine. But the more the better. I also don't want it to be too far forward right here. But it seems to be in a pretty good spot now. And I think moving the mount on the other side of the flange back here is a lot better. It's still a little shaky. I'm gonna build a gusset like everyone was telling me in the comments, but it's more sturdy now than it was before. And it actually is almost a perfect spot for it, really. See the clearance between the engine. It's a good bit of clearance right there. Not bad though. So I moved this compressor housing and tilted it back like this because I think the turbo's sitting about where it needs to, because I'm going to need a little bit of room for the pipe to come from here to the turbo header. It's going to be a really short piece right here, and then this piece over here is going to run. It's actually not going to take much pipe at all to do this turbo kit. The piping is going to be really short. It'll just come from right here right up into here. But I got that tilted back like that, so the piping will come down and come down right here right there and come back around to that big Garrett core intercooler that I just got. So I think what the plan is to get these motor plates in here right is I got a friend that's gonna let me borrow a set of heads. I'm gonna get the heads on the block. I'm gonna get everything bolted down. I'm gonna get the intake on top of the block. I'm going to get these motor plates to fit right, which I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but I'm going to. I'm gonna get these to fit right because the engine is sitting too far over to the right now. Because the little mounting plate, these little mounting plates right here, they're all the same size and the holes are in the exact same spots. And if you try to put this plate right here, you can see there's like maybe a half inch off. So what I'm going to do is the plan is to get the transmission bolted up. I'm not doing it today, that's going to be another video, but get the transmission bolted up, get it bolted up to the cross member, get these motor mounts off. I'll get a cherry picker up on the top of the engine, get it held up in place. I'll either do that or I'll get a one of those deals that go across the top right here. Either or, get it held up, get the motor mounts off of it, probably, and get it hung in place and get everything even with the frame on each side. Get these bolted up to each spot on each motor plate and mid plate, and then get them welded in. And I think the engine will be in the right spot. And then hopefully the headers will be here soon. The headers will be here soon. I've got a shipping label from CG Fab already, so those will be here. And I get my piping ordered. I got to get the intakes welded onto the intercooler. I'm gonna go 3.5 inch intercooler piping, and what the plan is to run it over here, come through, and then come back up through here. I'm gonna take the throttle body forward and come straight into the throttle body. So it's gonna look a little bit different than any other 2-valve setup I've seen. It's gonna be unique. It's gonna be a lot of work. Got a lot to do, like I said before, but it's getting there. That's all I got for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys later.